On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Preston Edward White, file number is 23-01346. Council appearance.
H. Councilman on behalf of the people.
And Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Mr. White, who's standing to my right today.
Okay, how are you, Mr. White?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Today is the date and the time that was set for a preliminary examination. And my understanding is there's an unconditional waiver to the circuit court, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Is there an offer at all?
No, there's no offer. We were just reading it straight up.
Okay. Okay, Mr. White, do you understand that you have the right to have a preliminary examination in the district court?
Yes, sir.
You understand the purpose of the district court is to require that the prosecution meet their burden, which is to establish that there is sufficient probable cause. So they have to establish that there's sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You wish to unconditionally waive your examination?
Yes.
Okay, so that means you can't come back later and change your mind. Okay, once you waive it, this matter will be bound over to the circuit court. Your next court date will be over at the circuit court without a hearing held here at the district court to establish probable cause. You recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody threatening you to get you to waive your rights and to the preliminary examination?
No,
Any promises being made to you in exchange for a waiver of your rights to the preliminary examination?
no, ma'am.
Okay, I find your waiver to be made freely, voluntarily, and intelligently. That's your signature on here, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, the matter will be bound over for a bind over date of June 21st, 2023. You do not need to appear in court on that date. That's the date that the circuit court will get the file from this court, okay?
Okay.
Your next court date will be a pretrial. That will be a date provided to your attorney. He'll be in contact with you, okay?
Okay.
You still have the address of East Edgewood?
Yes.
Okay, and your phone number still ends in 6416?
Yes.
You make sure you provide any updates on your address or contact information immediately. And bond was set at 5,000 personal recognizance. That will continue. Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You're all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Diamond Wiggins, file number is 23-01345FY. Appearance, please.
H. Councilman on behalf of the people.
And Attorney Luke Goodrich from the Public Defender's Office here to represent Ms. Wiggins, who's standing to my right today.
There was a date and time set for a preliminary examination, and then I have 2 PA3 bond violations. This is PA53 bond violation, so let me see here. report is not clear on the timeline. Is Ms. Wiggins a victim in another case?
I don't believe so. I understand that the victim was arrested apparently because they thought that he was the one with the bond condition. And then he was eventually let go or not, obviously not taken to jail when they figured out that it was Miss Wiggins with the bond condition.
Okay, so
Because I believe that
I
someone,
have,
sorry,
yeah, the report I have is clearly misconstrued.
Yeah.
Doesn't even indicate. Who's Shakira? Doesn't tell me what.
I think the second violation that they alleged was essentially that the alleged victim in this case, Mr. Smith, showed up at Miss Wiggins's place and started getting into a big argument with her sister that involved the cops getting called. They show up and they were in the same location, so they said, well, that's a bond violation.
and I believe that it was not the victim who called the police. I think it was someone at the residence, and they were saying the victim was a person who had a PPO against him when it was actually.
Or the victim appeared at her place of residence?
Yes.
Yes, and one of the violations, the other violation, I think it happened a week and a half later, that involved the minor child as well.
I see there's an offer here for the defendant to plead guilty to count 3 and for the people to dismiss count 1 and 2 under MCL 769.4A. Plus probation, there's no objection to 769.4A. Is that the offer?
That is the offer, and I believe that the PA 53 violations would be resolved if she enters that plea. I would still want the no contact order with the victim to stay in place.
That is correct, Your Honor. That is our understanding as well.
What if this was off the PA 53 violations?
So I don't know if I wrote it down on the plea sheet, but I would be asking for those to be dismissed.
I feel like the second one shouldn't even be a PA3P violation. At least with the report I have, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know if they've updated the report, but that's not what I have. But I have a report from May 9th. That she was arraigned on a violation. This allegation is that she reported to the protected party's address. Is the protected party here today?
He is not here today. I do have officers here for both the PA 53 violation and the prelim. And there were admissions given in the felony case that I believe that I could proceed without the victim on, but he is unable to be reached by our office.
I have an advice of rights the information sheet. It has today's date on it. That's your signature, ma'am. So, you read this document?
Yeah.
You understand each of the rights listed here?
Yeah.
Do you want to waive all of those rights today in order to plead guilty to count 3?
Yeah.
Count 3 is domestic violence. Misdemeanor maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fine. Do you understand that? You understand that by waiving your rights, you're giving up your right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty. You understand that? You have the right to have the prosecution prove your guilt at trial. You have the right to a jury trial. You have the right to see, hear, or question and confront any other witnesses that the prosecution intends to call against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence that you believe will further defense to the charges being brought against you. Do you understand that? You also have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. You understand that? You want to waive all of those rights today? Anybody threatening you to get you to waive your rights? Has there been any promises made to you in exchange for a guilty plea today? Are you currently on probation or on parole? You understand that a guilty plea can result in a conviction that you may need to report to your employer, or you may need to put a conviction on a future job application. You understand that a guilty plea could result in a conviction that may have impact on any travel or immigration status you may be seeking, like you may want to go to Canada for the weekend. That could impact this. You understand that? I can hear you? Yeah. Okay, you still want to waive your rights and enter a guilty plea to count 3? Pleading to count 3 because you believe you're guilty? As to count 3 of domestic violence, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or stand mute? Guilty. You got a factual basis.
Your Honor, we would like to do a factual basis for count 1 in order to, while the plea is to count 3 in this matter, based on having spoken with Ms. Wiggins. Ms. Wiggins, on or about April 27th, 2023, were you at a location at 3924 Hartford Road,
Yeah.
apartment 22? And is that located in the city of Lansing, county of Union, state of Michigan?
Yeah.
And while you were at that location, did you get into an argument with Marion Smith?
Yeah.
To be clear, Marion Smith is a young man that you have a child in common with, correct? And as part of this argument, at some point, did you threaten Mr. Smith within that?
I'm sorry. When you were threatening him, did you talk this low? Okay, you're outside listening. Yeah.
Okay, and that wasn't done in self-defense, correct?
No.
Your Honor, I believe we have the factual basis to the underlying, well, to count 1. So that count 3 should enter.
Okay, any additional question from the prosecution?
No, thank you.
Okay, the court is satisfied with the factual basis. I'll accept your plea. I find your plea to be made freely, voluntarily, and intelligently. This matter is set for sentencing. It's going to be August 10th at 9:30 in the morning. We leave this courtroom today. You need to go down to the 5th floor so that you can go to the probation department. They'll get you set up for your pre-sentence interview so they can provide the court with a report as to how you should be sentenced and eligibility as it regards to status under 769.4A, okay? Okay? Yeah. Okay. You can appear via Zoom for your hearing. However, there are some requirements. Number 1, you need to make sure your name is indicated on your device when you log in. And when you log in, you can always change it, but I'm no longer letting people in here without a name, okay? The other thing is you need to be in a environment that's appropriate for sentencing, meaning you can't be driving, you can't be sleeping, you can't have outside background noise going on, okay? If that's gonna be a problem, then you need to appear in person, okay? Do you have any questions at this time about what you need to do for sentencing? No. Okay. The P53s are dismissed. Any additional matters for the record?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. Oh, yes. Regarding the bond conditions in this case, count 2 involved child abuse force, which was basically leaving the child unattended while she ran out of the house. As that count has been dismissed, I would ask the court to lift any restrictions regarding the child as part of this case. She is working with CPS and she will be required to follow any orders of CPS, but I would just ask the court to lift its own restrictions regarding the child.
I'm not sure what the actual bond condition regarding the child was. I was trying to look that up.
It says supervised visitation with minor child only. It says sister will be third party. I'm going to remove bond conditions as it relates to the minor, and that will be orchestrated through the circuit court. And then you're on GPS tether. I'll remove the tether as well, so you can go and have that removed, okay? You need to go to Ingham County. Is that what they put it on?
The jail, same place. Yeah, you gotta go to the Union County Jail that worked and talk to JSG.
And they can remove it. Do not remove it yourself. It's a very expensive piece of device and they'll charge you with it and then issue a charge against you for it. Okay, and so just go down there, you can do that. Bond will continue otherwise, 3,010%. And there's still a no contact order for no direct contact with Marion Smith, okay? Do you have any questions? Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You're welcome.